Let me also say I just want to finish my whole rant, and I'll do it very, very quickly on pharmacology. I am not absolutely opposed to pharmacology. To drugs created in the laboratory. If I had a venereal disease, the first thing I'd be doing is, and thank God I don't. The first thing I'd be doing is knocking on the door of a physician and saying, give me some penicillin or whatever the drug du jour is. I mean, if I had some sort of skin-eating infection. But here's the problem, is a lot of these diseases that were merely irritations 100 years ago are now killers. You got MRSA, methicillin-resistant staph infections. You've got bugs out there that are resistant to our medicines because we're overusing our medications. And frankly, we have mental illnesses that are resistant to these or are being created by these in some cases. On the other hand, I want to acknowledge that there are some people who are tremendously helped by psychiatric drugs. There are some people who are tremendously helped by them. And I am not taking the Scientology position or the anti-drug position at all. What I'm trying to say is I think that we have gone way overboard, and we've gone way overboard as a consequence of the profit motive in medicine. That we should not be allowing these drugs to be advertised on television, that this is something that should be between people and their physicians, and that when it comes to natural compounds, and frankly I think a lot of these natural compounds, particularly pot, but anything that will grow in your backyard, I think when it comes to natural compounds, we could eliminate the need for a lot of these psychiatric conditions if people simply had the ability to self-medicate with things that we co-evolved with over a period of millions of years. That said, let's pick up your thoughts on this. And let's see, Carol in Beaverton. Hey, Carol, welcome to the show.
Hi, Tom. First of all, I'll start by saying I'm 66, and when I first dealt with illness was when I was 9 years old, and was depressed to the point of wanting to kill myself. This went on for this low-level depression, which I still functioned, went on till I was 23 when I was hospitalized as a full-blown manic depressive.
Yeah.
At that time, they didn't have anything to help the manic depressive. They didn't have lithium yet. So I had stelazine, Mellaril, Thorazine, Artane for side effects. Yeah. And it was hell.
All the antipsychotics. And you know that there appear to be statistical correlations with bipolar disorder in showing up in higher amounts in those parts of the country, particularly back in the day when we ate locally, in those parts of the country where there is less lithium naturally occurring in the soil. It may be that very, very tiny micronutrient doses of lithium, I mean, we may be looking at a nutritional deficiency here.
Well, I grew up in North Dakota. I didn't come out here until I was 16.
Yeah, it's the Midwest, actually, where there's very low levels of lithium.
The thing with this, when you're on lithium, and I'll tell you why I quit 5 years ago. I don't take any drugs anymore. But I got cancer of the kidney. And I feel it was almost a direct relationship to all those years of lithium.
Yeah.
Now, I have no problems at this point. With lithium, you're on, I call it the great equalizer. You're not up, you're not down.
Right.
You're just sort of walking that line. Never really happy, but not sad either.
Yeah.
And it's like you're faking your way through life.
Yeah.
And all these years, and now I'm going back to writing my poetry. I'm writing short stories. I'm listening to you every day, and I'm learning and learning so much again. All the stuff that I thought was lost, it's not lost.
That's great. Carol, I'm glad you have it back, and thank you for sharing your story with us. I've got a whole bunch of people who want to share their stories too, so I'm going to move along. But thank you very much. And I agree. The ups and downs of life, unless people are literally on the edge, the ups and downs of life they're the grist for the mill. If you want to mill grain, you've got to toss some sand into that mill to act as it's called grist. It's the stuff that allows the wheat to be ground. And it's the grist for the mill of life. It's the stuff that makes it work. James in Victorville, California. Hey, James, welcome to the show.
Hi, Tom. I was diagnosed at a young age with something called minimal brain dysfunction and hyperactivity.
Oh, which now they call attention deficit hyperactive disorder.
Yeah, what they did is I was on a pharmacopoeia during the 70s and 80s of everything from phenobarbital to Ritalin, and I couldn't feel. I mean, I had to do things, like act out in class and, do massive things just to feel a little bit. I mean, I was just, I could not feel. And then when I was like 13 years old, thanks to something called the Feingold diet and a couple of really good teachers, I have been drug-free for, nigh on 25, 30 years now, and, got a good job, a good life, and, that's what the thanks was two good teachers and a little something called the Feingold diet.
There you go. And, in fact, I knew Ben Feingold. I was the executive director of the New Orleans Salem Children's Village in New Hampshire, and at the time, in 1978 and 79, his book was published in 78, Why Your Child is Hyperactive. And I flew out to San Francisco, met with him. We did a study of his diet with our kids. We found that one of our kids was very, very reactive to salicylates, which was the compound that he identified. We found that we had a bunch of other kids who didn't seem to make much difference. I think that what we're looking at is the infinite variety of humanity here. And James, I'm so glad to hear that you figured it out for yourself and that you got through it.
All right,
it's great.
Have a good one.
Thank you very much for the call. Good to hear from you. Our number 866-987-THOM. Our telephone number. Barbara in Longmont, Colorado. Hey, Barbara.
Hello. Pleasure to talk with you, Tom. Thank you. My daughter, who is now 18, she's graduating from high school this year, all through elementary school, I was told in numerous parent-teacher conferences, you have got to get your daughter on medications. She is very difficult to handle in class, and I resisted all the way up until she was about in 5th grade, and I went and I took her to the doctor, and he said, I am not going to offer that diagnosis. I think it's a maturity thing. Mm-hmm. By the time she got into high school, the very thing that her elementary school teachers had such a problem with, the fact that she was engaged and wanted to be involved, her high school teachers loved.
Right.
Because she was talking and she was asking questions and she was helping out and she was doing all those things that when you have 30-plus kids in an elementary classroom is kind of disruptive. Yep. Once you get to high school, it's all fabulous.
I would submit to you, Barbara, and as I said yesterday, I've worked with school districts all over this country over a decade. Back in the 80s and 90s, right. And I would submit to you that 75% of the kids who are on medication right now in the United States, at least, would no longer need to be medicated if their class size was no larger than 15.
I firmly believe that, and that's what I every time they told me that you must medicate your child, I just came back. I'll help out in class. I'll volunteer, but it's a problem with your class size, not my daughter being unruly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I know some kids do need it, but
sure.
Kids are kids. I mean, come on.
Yeah, and humans represent just a huge and vast and wide variety. Barbara, well said. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom.
Ray in Tuscadero, California. Hey, Ray, got a minute to the break. What's up?
Oh, okay. I wish you would include schizophrenia.
Yes.
In your medication.
Schizophrenia is a really tough one. I mean, this.
It's terrible. Steals a person's life.
Yes.
And I've been a mental health advocate now in San Luis Obispo County for 18 years. Mm-hmm. And I'm on antidepressants myself, and I won't give them up.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have been able to be an advocate if I hadn't been on medications, because I can't get out of bed and I cry all the time.
Yeah, and that's the situation where these things are useful. And schizophrenia, I don't know if you've seen the studies that correlate schizophrenia with mom getting flu during, I believe, the first trimester of her pregnancy. Yes. There is an absolute seasonal variation to the birth of schizophrenic children. So we're probably talking about an actual physical brain difference that needs to be, and thank you, Ray, for the call, that needs to be resolved or remediated in some way. And pharmaceuticals, at the moment, seem to be about the only thing we've got. Although, frankly, I don't think that much has been done with natural substances because there's no profit in it.